Now, I would like to introduce our guests today. So, Mrs. Lakshmi N. Menon is a designer by profession and runs the organization Pure Living in Cochin. It is dedicated to finding sustainable livelihood solution and is also propagating awareness in the society about the importance of green living. She had made mattresses out of scraps, which was later used at the COVID centers during the pandemic. She conceptualized Wisdom, a project designed to provide livelihood for the underprivileged elderly through crowdsourcing. She's also known for Pen with Love, the plantable pens made of paper with seeds that grows into a tree once disposed. She has been facilitated by Amitabh Bachchan on Star Plus, produced by BBC World on the show Aaj Ki Raat Hai Zindagi. Honored as the Earth Day Network star in October 2018 by Earth Day Network Global and selected as the governing council member of National Innovation Foundation in 2018. We welcome you, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for having me here. Just a message to Insta, and I'm here. I mean, so impressed by the way the whole institution works. We had a very, short chat, and immediately she called me up, and she wanted to know more about my activities, and gave an opportunity to be with you guys, to interact with you all today. So I am a designer by profession, fashion, interior, jewelry, product designer, and now I'm more into designing lives. It was the design thinking that actually helped me to be involved in so many of the projects, the social projects that I'm in now. So I feel that, we belong to that privileged lot, the premium 1% cream, because if you are here studying in this college, for sure you are the premium lot of the country itself. So, and that comes with a lot of responsibility. So that is why I was kind of trying to, I always used to think that, if you're not part of the solution, then by default you are part of the problem, as Napoleon Hill said once. So that is something that has really moved me, and I thought, whenever I see a problem, whenever I see if there was something, a solution, that if can become an enterprise, it can become a huge initiative. So that is how all the 16 projects that I'm doing now, parallelly, it all came into being through that thought. So I'll just quickly walk you through some of the projects that I've been doing. So this is a Chekuti dolls, which we started. I don't know how many of you are aware of the great deluge, the flood that happened in Kerala in 2018. And for around 7 days, couple of places, especially an artist, weaver's village, were literally submerged under the water at around 8 feet high for a week or so. And you must have seen the Kerala fabric, like the ikru color, the thin, delicate cotton fabric. So once the water receded, it was so kind of shocking to see that the entire stock that they had, at that too during the Onam festival, that is where they have the maximum stock, because that is the largest festival in Kerala. That is when we shop the most. It's like the Diwali in North India. So the entire lot was damaged, and they tried to bleach it, wash it, they couldn't salvage it. So the only option that they had was to burn the entire fabric. You can see that blue striped material, right? So that is all the dirt and everything with the tear and everything. So so the secretary of the Handloom Weaver Society told somebody that, it's heartbreaking to kind of just burn months-long effort by the weavers, right? It was already in shambles, and we know the handloom industry, how it's a dwindling industry, and this would have been the last nail on their coffin, if they had to go and let it go. So when they approached me, I took a few samples with me, and I even tried to wash it, chlorinate and everything, but I saw that nothing can be done to it. And it's almost, when you touch it, it tears, kind of. So, but when I looked at that material, we were all involved in the rescue relief operations during those days. And so I knew what Kerala was like those days. I could see stains everywhere. Wherever I travel, I could see a scar in every heart. So that is exactly what I saw when I looked at the fabric also. So I thought, this could be a reflection of the Malayali during those days, a Keralite. And I didn't want to just leave it there. So I thought of making a small doll out of that discarded material. So it had all the stains, scars and everything, and I was looking at for a clean piece of cloth, in the entire saree. I could have got only maybe 1 or 2 pieces from that. I could only salvage, but I thought that is not going to serve the purpose. 21 lakh worth of cloth was to be burnt the next day. So I tweaked a little bit of the whole project. I gave a tagline saying that, so the name is Che Kuti because the weaver's village is called Chena Mangalam, and the Che came from that. And Kuti is like a gender neutral name for a kid in Malayalam, Kuti. Like you say Baba and all that. And Chera also means mud. So this became a kid that emerged out of the mud sort of. So this became a beacon of resilience, beacon of hope and everything. So that is how that Chekuti doll was born. And from one saree I was able to make, so a new saree would cost maybe around 1,500 to 2,000 rupees. So when I converted it into a doll, around 350 dolls we were able to make around 350 dolls from that, each priced at rupees 25. 9,000 rupees we were able to generate from one of those damaged sarees. So by doing that, then it became a huge volunteer-driven program. Around 9 countries, people were making it. They were taking this material with them. They were making it into dolls. And in 3rd or 4th month, 36 lakhs rupees was generated by this damaged cloth, which was supposed to be burnt. And then in UN Reconstruction Conference, World Bank had been giving this as the souvenir to all the other countries. So that was upcycling that we did with that damaged material. So then it became, there's been movies made out of it, there were novels written on it, and this fetched the Kendra Sahitya Academy actually for the children's book based on this Chekuti doll. So that has become an emotion sort of, because people, whoever were not able to get kind of financially or physically be of some help during the COVID, during the flood days, they felt that if they have made at least one Chekuti, they have also kind of become part of the rebuild program sort of. So there was such an emotional connect. So people started, there was somebody who paid 1 lakh rupees for one of that Chekuti, for single piece. So people actually started looking for the one with the damage, because the tagline that we had given was Chekuti has stains, Chekuti has scars, yet Chekuti is each of us who survived the flood. So that really caught on, and people, they just ignored the looks of it, the stains, scars. The more damaged it is, the more valuable it became. So slightly changing the whole narrative, we could actually save and create around 54 lakhs rupees was generated from other 2 cooperative societies.
This is a very potent perspective for young people, young designers to even understand that, the scars, the hurt, the damage itself is so valuable, because that's what the story is about, and that's what is a reminder of the...
Yeah, absolutely. We're not, how we normally look for perfection. And so this is a reality. This is what we had gone through during the flood. Everywhere there was a stain, and in every heart there was a scar. That was exactly what I saw in the cloth. And being a fashion designer, I worked with handloom weavers. I knew the kind of effort that put in to weave every inch of fabric. We all know, right? The students are working, they know. They work with the fiber thinner than a hair. So just to discard it, just to give it to the flames would have been a big, wrong from my part, because I had a moral obligation being a fashion designer. So I had to I decided I won't quit. I have to kind of save these clothes. So it was a result of that, and still one of my favorite, most, renowned one, I guess. So this was the pile of clothes that I saw. And then we washed it, chlorinated it, perfumed it, and that is how we used, with a tiny storyline. So it's become a luggage tag, a brooch, and in most of the cars in Kerala, you still get to see it. So it was a completely volunteer-driven program.
So I also understand one thing when you talk about design thinking, right? She used the design thinking while she was looking at innovating. So it starts with empathy. Yeah, so being very empathetic to the whole thing. Defining the problem correctly was also very important for you.
When you design the problem, actually the solution emerges out of it.
Beautiful.
That's exactly what I do every single time. So I kind of like to, that's a simple definition, and by midway we started moving on to the solution part.
Beautiful.
Every single project that I'd been doing, that is what exactly it is.
So, because when students look look at the EDIPT process, I know it's very simplified, and it's interesting that, how you're trying to really show it to them, because most of the time they see it from a theory perspective and not really knowing the real application of it. So while, the empathizing part, you could see defining the problem, that this was the problem, that was the, going through the floods, and then ideating what could be the possible solutions. So she, looking at even a door as simple as that as an idea was something that made a difference. And then probably prototyping it with a couple of people and then testing it out
thing
and
is
then
that-
having the world take it over.
Absolutely. So when I designed that, I wanted to make sure that this has to become a people's movement, because that's the kind of material that was stocked up in every weaver's village, right? So it made it so simple. There is no thread, no needle, no stitching involved in that. So just cut a 6-inch circle and and make a ball out of the waste material, and a small hole in the center. Put that head thing and a tie on the neck. That's it. So anybody could make it like in 2 minutes, So that's what people, children from an age of 4 to 5 to elderly at the age of 90 were able to make it. So this has become a therapeutic thing for many of the people. Yeah, so Google, it reached Google. There were Christmas trees decorated with that. So everywhere it was Chikuti. So that became the doll of that year, sort of. Next one, please. Yeah, so this was the pen. So I started this project, I was doing it, so I was making this pen as like a souvenir. I'm a featured artist in one of the galleries in San Francisco. So I was specializing in paper craft. So this is one of the random product that I had made for the tourists to take back. So whenever I used to come to Kerala, I was completely disturbed by the kind of garbage, the plastic garbage that's strewn around everywhere. And Kerala is such a beautiful place, and this was such an eyesore to look at. So I didn't know what to do about it. The huge decisions would have to come from the government side, but I knew that in my limited capacity, a single person also can do, in whatever they can. So I thought, why don't I introduce this pen in Kerala? Because Kerala being the highest literate state, every single person uses a pen. So I was thinking, let me start with that, with a small idea. And that is how to, so I used a discarded paper from printing presses or the answering sheets from the schools. And one A4 paper becomes one pen and a cap. So being an interior designer, like anybody who is an interior designer here would know that it's all about optimization of space, right? So there is a tiny little space on the back side, because when the front portion, when it is pointed out, that much of space is created in the rear side. So I was thinking, what can be put, used for that? How can I use that space? So I've been thinking about all sorts of, you would see the crazy ideas I had in the beginning. Then I thought, my grandma always carries seeds in these tiny little pouches. Yeah. So when she visit one place, she would take the seed from there. When she goes to the next house, she would gift it there. So I've been seeing that, and I realized that you need only little bit space to hold that seed. So I thought, why don't I make it a plantable one? So initially I started with the spinach seeds and all that, the tiny ones. And I thought, if I can have a seed that has the capacity to grow into a tree. So once you throw away one pen, that will become a tree. And the paper, it's actually coming from the tree, right? So this is like completing the circle sort of, yeah. So it was named as pen with love, because with in Malayalam means seed. So this was the pen with seed. Collection, and now I've been training like lots of paraplegic people and so many people. We have the global patent. We took it so that we can let more people make it. And Google, Wipro, they're all our CSR partners. The best thing is that it's all made by women, and it is so women empowerment. Then we are upcycling the paper waste. We are getting rid of, reducing the plastic waste and adding more to the reforestation sort of, right? So these are the features that pretty much every CSR looks for. And with every pen, I attach a small booklet with every single product I do. That entry, right, you can see that. So entry is like, entry to a greener living sort of. And in that, there's a small write-up about what is the peculiarity of the pen and why do we need trees and what are the specialities of that particular seed which grows into a tree, details of that, and a QR code with the social side of that, the entire story of the pen, which was made by Al Jazeera channel. So this is a mattress that I had come up during the COVID period. During August 2020, in Kerala, we were actually very good at managing the COVID surge and all that, but by August, with lots of NRIs coming back, we completely lost it. So the government had immediately issued an order saying that every panchayat should have an FLTC, that is first line treatment centers for the COVID patients. So if they are tested positive, or any NRI that is coming to Kerala, they have to undergo that two weeks, quarantine. And that means we have around 975 panchayats in Kerala. So we were looking at around 50,000, demand for 50,000 mattresses, pillows, beds and all that, all of a sudden in a matter of like 2-3 weeks. And Kerala being a consumer state, we couldn't procure it all of a sudden. And unlike floods where everybody was very generous with offering money, COVID time everybody was hit financially, so they were not very generous. So and the borders were closed, we couldn't source the mattresses from other states. So then I was tracking the COVID in every possible way, and we knew that there was a lot of employment, jobs that were lost during those days. And being a fashion designer, I was in touch with my friends who are in the fashion field. So they were saying just to maintain the infrastructure and the employees, everyone had converted their fashion stores into PPE manufacturing units. So that was something that they were new to, right? That material, it had the plastic content. And at the source, like the fashion designers would know, to cut the gown, you would need to cut the neck part, the sleeve part, and that just had to be cut. So there was a lot of cutouts, the tailoring scrap that was generated at the source, and they didn't know what to do with it. Unlike the regular material that they would just, burn every day to make space for the next day's waste, they couldn't do that with this. So it was like tons of this was getting collected in all the textile, the tailoring shops. So what we did in Shaya is that those are the kind of tailoring waste that I was getting. It comes in all sizes and shapes. So we had to come up with a solution immediately, and I knew we couldn't train anybody on stitching the mattress. I have to get the right machinery and all that, and skill development. It was not going to happen then. So I thought the next best thing would be to just braid it. Braid using all these pieces so that even the tiniest piece can be integrated in the braiding, and braiding is something that anybody can do. So immediately I made a few samples, and I asked the women in my neighborhood, around 30 of them who had lost their jobs, I asked them to join me, and we started making those, even students, started making those ropes of the braided ones, and then we would put a plywood which is 6 feet by 2 feet, which is the standard size of the mattress, and I had attached nails on both sides. If you Google, you'll get more details of it. And just by weaving, laying it on that plywood zigzag, and by tying it together with the longer pieces of the PPE, the mattress was made. So one day, one person can make one mattress, and we were paying the 330 rupees, which is at par with the Manrega, labor charge that they were getting otherwise. So thousands of pieces were made, and
beautiful. So this is tweet by
Anand Mahindra, yeah.
And it says that,
Can you go back to the side, please?
Yes. It says, I would be a willing investor in her enterprise should she look at to raise resources to expand and grow. So did you think about this?
Yeah, and they contacted me, and they, so that time they needed the pens, because this was already taken care of by so many other CSR. Because every CSR, they were reaching to us asking that, can you donate 1,000 over here, 1,000 over there? Because they all were asked to keep a separate budget for the COVID related activities. And this was the best they could think of, because it was generating employment, it was upcycling waste, and it was providing the most needed commodity at the most minimal cost. So, so we had been training in around 9 to 10 countries, and in so many, because that was a global issue. Everywhere there were loss of job. Everywhere this scrap was being generated. Everywhere there was a need for mattress. Yeah, we had used it in weaving. So we had come up with yoga mattresses and blinds using that, and I also used it as a runner for dining tables, and also for the bed. There's no limit to what you can do with this, so.